This will be the ultimate beginner guide for SQL Server. We will install the server management tools, the SQL Server, import a test database, inspect and change the data, make new admin account, and also back up the database. Everything in under 14 minutes. So sit tight and let's get started right away. Have you tried turning it off and on again? Alright, so I'm on a freshly installed Windows Server 2025. Link below if you need one. I have a video on it. And we are going to start with downloading the server software. So let's just Google download SQL Server. Make sure you're not on a third-party scam site or anything like that. Microsoft.com, download the software, and let's scroll down. We don't want any cloud Azure stuff. We want the developer full-featured free database for non-production environment. So download now and open file. And we can go with a basic installation here. It will be the database engine, which is what we need, and default settings. So just hit basic, install, and I will speed this up so we don't waste any time. So 20x here, and this is now downloaded successfully and the installment is soon done. Here we have installed the software and this is actually it. Now we will go to installing the management system, SSMS. So press that one, download SSMS, and then again press the link download SQL Server Management Studio. And we open this file also, and this is to manage the data, connect to the database, restore, and we can close out of the ordinary installation and continue here with the SQL Server Management Studio. And let's speed this up also. No need to see all these installation bars. So now we have both the server and the management tools installed. And if you type services, we can see the SQL Server is running. So everything seems to install just right. And to begin managing this SQL Server installation, let's search for Studio. And then we can open SQL Server Management Studio. And this interface, we keep server type as database engine. And server name is the host name for this local computer. In the SQL world, you can also put a dot, that's the same thing. And authentication will be Windows Authentication, and you have to press Trust Server Certificate. Open up, and we are now connected to the database server. As you can see, top left, let's just resize this window a bit. But we don't have any databases yet. So if we expand this, we can only see the default system databases, but otherwise there should be a database here. But fortunately, Microsoft can provide us with some free test databases that are called AdventureWorks. So Google up, download AdventureWorks database, and make sure it's an official Microsoft link. And scroll down a bit, and we will see we can go with a lightweight. It's got many tables and much data, so download the AdventureWorks Lite 2022, and let's put it in another folder because it can be a bit tricky to find it if it's in the download folder. So we will put this in a temp folder, C:temp, and since I already prepared it, it's already there. Now let's head back to SSMS, right click on databases, restore database, device, triple dots, add file, and here we browse to where we stored the database. which is C:temp, and you can double click, press OK, and press OK again. So you actually learned how to restore a backup or import a database. It's the same thing. We restored this from a BAK file. We expand the database, and the database is basically tables for most part. So here are all the tables. We can right click and select the top 1000 rows. And here we actually can see all the data, but we can't edit any data here. So first name, Orlando, we can copy it, etc., print it, but let's X out of this query and instead right click and go edit. Now we can actually edit the data, and if we press here on Orlando, we can erase it with backspace. And yeah, let's put Karlsson, why not? Swedish heritage. So we actually changed this data now in the customer table for this database. So we can hear from our neighbor, Timmy. He also wants access to this database, but he doesn't have any account on this server. So we have to right click on this server, go to properties and security, and change the authentication mode to also do SQL Server authentication. That means that we can make a SQL Server account for our friend Timmy. And if we also go to services, which is needed, we need to restart the SQL Server for this effect. So go to services, restart the server, and now we are in mixed mode authentication. Next, we need to go to security, and we right click on the login, press new login, and here we want to swap to SQL Server authentication. So let's call this Super Timmy. Timmy is a senior sysadmin, so we trust him fully, and he knows a bit of SQL. So Timmy will get a password, and Timmy will also get the server role of a sysadmin. That means he can restore databases, change data. He can basically do anything at the super level for this SQL Server installation. So if we look at the logins, we can see a bunch of default logins. We can see the ones we are logged into now. We can see Super Timmy, and we can also see a disabled SA account, which is also a super account, but it's become best practice to disable that because of security reasons. Let's go to Timmy with Windows 11 setup. He's very eager to connect to the database and help us out. So he has already downloaded the SQL Server Studio. He has typed in the IP address to the SQL Server and swapped the authentication to SQL Server authentication. Put in his login, Super Timmy, and now also putting in the password. But when he pressed connect, it takes a long time, and Timmy has been around for a while and it's like, dude, I can't connect. Have you opened the firewall on the SQL Server? And so he's gonna test it out. So he goes test net connection port 1433, which is the default managing port. And as we can see, he can't connect. Nothing is listening on that port. And no, sorry Timmy, we have to change that. So we are going into the advanced settings for the firewall. And here we go on inbound rules. And let's put this a bit to the side so we can see. And also we can sort by protocol. And 1433, Timmy said, nope, sorry, there's nothing here. Let's create a new rule for the port. 1433, hit next and allow next. and next again, and let's call this 1433 SQL, can call it for Timmy, because Timmy says also don't open it for everyone, you have to open it only for me. So we right click the rule again, hit properties and go to scope to only allow this for a certain IP. So Timmy, he's on IP 10.0.0.100. He also says to us, you have to go into the server configuration manager and enable the TCP IP. So we go to the server SQL manager, we go to network configuration and protocols for MS SQL Server. And yeah, he's right. TCP IP is actually disabled by default. So we right click and enable that one. And we have to restart the servers again. So let's go to services again. We look for SQL Server. There it is, and we restart the service. So, okay, Timmy, can you try to connect again? I've opened the firewall, I started the TCP service, and the firewall looks okay. So let's head over to Timmy's Windows 11 machine, and he goes right into the SQL Server Management Studio tool, hit connect, and it's like, yeah, I'm in, I just have to change my password. So he changes his password, hits OK, and yeah, there it is. Timmy is in, he can manage the database. Let's check if he can actually take a backup, because he asked us, have you done a backup? And we said, no backup yet. He goes copy only to not interfere with any other backup setups. Then press add and browse. And remember, this is the file structure of the server. So here we can put a name, for example, AW for AdventureWorks, and the date, and not forget .bak. Hit OK. Hit OK. We can go to backup options also if we want to make sure that it's compressed. This is not a large database, but it's best practice for large databases not to take too much space. And there it is. We have also learned how to take backup. So that was it for a crash course in SQL Server without wasting your time. Hope you liked it. See you next time. Bye bye.